Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we'll be playing the new Irresistible Attraction seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode, in which whenever someone plays a non-spying unit, they will steal a unit from their opponent's side that has the same amount of power. That means we either want our units to match the same amount of power as our opponent's units to steal them, or we want to make it difficult for our opponent to steal our units. And that's what we're going to focus on for this deck, so let's go check it out. Alright, so today we're going to play a Skellige Rage of the Sea deck that focuses on playing cards that have high enough base power, or have boosts on deploy, so that they are particularly difficult for our opponent to steal them. That way, we're just out of their league. So that means cards with a lot of base power, like Melusine, as well as Gerd, and certainly Skjall. And then if there are at least 3 damage units out there when we play Svanrige, then he will also have a lot of power. Then we have cards like Dagur Two Blades, as well as Messenger of the Sea, that although at 4 power are very easy to steal, as long as our opponent has Rain on their side of the board, either from our leader ability, from Melusine, from Fulmar, or from the little Havfrue, then that means that our opponent's units will get damaged at the start of their turn, boosting Dagur and boosting Messenger of the Sea before they play their next card, raising the Messenger of the Sea and Dagur above 4 power, where it becomes much more difficult for our opponent to steal them. Then once they can no longer steal them, we can keep on dealing the damage, and keep on getting those cards boosted. Then in round 2 or round 3, we'll use Sigrdrifa's Rite to get Melusine back, when she'll carry over all of her base power increases, and then use Fucusya, giving us some more rain, but more importantly, allowing us to bring Rioghan from our graveyard onto the board, and deal a ton of damage in the process. And then maybe throw in a Bear Witcher Mentor at the very end, as another finisher. So those are all the big combos, but now I'll flip through the deck to show you what else we have. And Heim can switch power with one of our opponent's damaged units. So ideally what we do here is if our opponent has a damage unit that has the same amount of power as one of their other units, for example, say they have a damaged unit that is on 7 power, and then they have another unit that is also on 7 power, we use Heim on that damaged 7, which turns Heim into a 7, turns their damage 7 into a 1, because that's Heim's starting power, and because Heim's power now matches with their other unit that has 7 power, that means we steal that other unit that has 7 power, making this a huge point swing. So there's a look at the deck, and like I said, the focus is on playing cards that are too powerful for our opponents to steal them, and then finish the game with a ton of damage. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here, and we'll go first. Okay, so I'd like first to keep our Tuirseach Invader in our deck, at least until round 3. Then I don't think we want Freya's Blessing in round 1 either. And I suppose we could go with this, but we can maybe do better than the Marauder. Let's start with a little Havfrue. I think at 6 power, that's going to be a little tough for our opponent to steal. But this is Nilfgaard, so if they want to, they may even be able to create a copy of this card. They'll go Nilfgaard Unite and do just that. Ooh, well done. However, we can still steal one of those. So let's go with Oneiromancy into Raging Bear, or Gerd, but we don't really need the damage here, so let's save Gerd and go with Raging Bear. And we'll get back the little Havfrue. Alright then, Duchess's Informant, that's what I was expecting them to do. Raging Bear, which will give them our Raging Bear, and damage their Nilfgaardian Knight, so that's now a 6. But because we still have our other little Havfrue, that means we can play our second one, and trigger the Bonded. Which means this one will be at 8 power, so we can steal back that Raging Bear. And at this point, we may want to boost up one of these cards with Tactical Advantage to make it a little bit tougher to steal. Alright, Coup de Grace, and yep, means they'll play another Duchess's Informant. This is what Nilfgaard does in this event. And tell you what we could do. We could get Melusine out here. Have a unit on either side. It won't steal anything, but she'll start getting boosted up here. And now we are at a very awkward number for them to steal with all of our units. They may be able to take this little Havfrue. It's Triss Telekinesis, so that'll not steal anything directly, but then they'll boost some of their units. And so now what we do is we go Dagur Two Blades, steal that Triss Telekinesis, then let's use some of these order abilities. Both rows worth of cards. Obviously, this Nilfgaardian Knight is going to tank that with the shield. But what that does is that starts to open up some Heim plays on our next turn. Alright, they're going to poison Dagur. I mean, it's fine. They'll steal Triss as well. Because what we're really looking to do is set up the Heim, which is possible now, because we play this, and we swap power with one of the damage units, and we can do it with any of these 7-power Raging Bears, and when we do that, we will be 7-power with this Heim, so we will steal another one of those 7-power Raging Bears. Alright, they'll use their leader ability here, and we do have a 7, so they will steal that Raging Bear back. Then Fangs the Empire, round 2 will, yes, destroy Dagur, as we expected when we saw that first round of poison. We can steal this 6-power Raging Bear if we were to play Fulmar. That's a little bit of an aggressive play, but I do think we can go for that here. Let's maybe put down a little more rain first. Alright, now they'll go Rot Tosser. Does seem like they have a fair bit of poison. And they actually stole Fulmar in the process. Obviously, they don't have any rain, so his order ability doesn't do anything for them. But we did lose one of our better cards. So let's go Bearwitcher Mentor here as our big point slam. Card that they will not be able to match. At least should not be able to match with any of theirs. It's Uma's Curse. And it's the Professor. We do have a 6-power card, so they can steal something with this. And so now it's either Sigrdrifa's Rite, which we would like to use on Rioghan, although just 2 rain on the opposing side. Not sure how much I really want to do that right now. Or we go with Skjall, and there's no 10-power card for us to steal. Be just enough for us to retake the lead. Let's try that. And at the very least, what we're doing is, even if we lose round 1, because round 1 has gone so long, we've had plenty of time to power up Melusine. She's a 19 base power, which means in the future, if we were to bring her back, should be much stronger. They're going Bearwitcher Mentor. It'll be a big point slam. They might be able to steal something with it. Not quite. Okay. It is definitely enough for them to retake the lead, though. So I think we pass here. Does mean we'll lose in round 1, but the key thing is that we've gotten Melusine all the way up to 21. So we'll bring her back in round 2 or round 3, and she'll be very strong when we do that. Alright, so we're doing to round 2 of Oneiromancy, as well as the Bearwitcher Mentor. There's not going to be as many cards out there in a short round, so this would be a little bit difficult to get it boosted up as much as we did in round 1. Then the Tuirseach Invader is better now in round 2, although we'd probably still prefer to have her in round 3. Then Messenger of the Sea is one of those cards we probably would have liked to have had in round 1. Maybe we stick with this, though. They'll dry pass. So we're just looking for a throwaway card here in that case. And I think we may go with Messenger of the Sea. So that means we'll take the round 2 win. Alright, so we've drew into Svanrige, as well as the Tuirseach Invader. Now it has 7 power, so now it's a little bit of a better option. And then the Craite Marauder. I think we get rid of the Marauder. And what we really need is a first turn play. And it may even be the Hermit, because if we play him, and there's no other units out there, he's going to be at 3 power. That's a little bit hard for Nilfgaard to do. So let's go with him here. He doesn't have anyone to damage, and therefore cannot heal. Alright, they'll go Anna Henrietta and steal our leader ability. And it is 3 power, so they will steal the Hermit. So I think we play the Tuirseach Invader. It's a little risky at 7 power. So I'm not too concerned about them stealing a 3-power unit, but a 7-power unit would be a little painful. But our other cards here we want to save as more of our finishers. They'll go Illusionist. And then use our leader ability. And it does mean that they've now set up our Svanrige, as well as our Bear Witcher Mentor. So that does help. So now I think we just Point Slam. It's not going to steal anything, but it's going to be big enough that it's going to be very difficult for them to steal. Now they'll go with another Illusionist. This time with a Messenger of the Sea. And that will get boosted from all this damage, but it also means we can almost steal it with Bear Witcher Mentor. So now let's go Sigrdrifa's Rite. And let's get out Melusine. Alright, they'll go Dandelion. He cannot steal anything. But the second card they play, the Emissary, will boost up one of their units. So now the Bear Witcher Mentor is a 6-point play. But what I want to do now is go with Rage of the Sea. And Melusine's ability as well. And then go with Oneiromancy into Fucusya. And use her to play Rioghan. Because we will steal a bunch of units in the process. And deal a bunch of damage. And suddenly, it is very difficult for them to catch us. Alright, they'll go Brothans. And with Brothans, they'll go Duchess's Informant, yes. Tuirseach Invader actually does start with 5 power, so that means they can steal it here. So our last card is Bear Witcher Mentor, and with 6 damage units out here, that means they'll get boosted by 6 up to a 10, and you know what that means. We'll steal that other Messenger of the Sea. So we're out of cards, they have 2 left. We have a pretty sizable lead, but of course if they can steal anything big here, then they may be able to retake that lead, we'll have to see. Burning Joust will not steal anything, but it might set up a steal. Then Coup de Grace on the Duchess's Informant. For a Bear Witcher Mentor of their own, which does steal that Messenger of the Sea back, but it is not enough. With that big finisher, they just couldn't catch us. Alright, so going up against Nilfgaard here. And we'll go first. Alright, so I'd like to save Tuirseach Invader for a future round. I'd also like to save Freya's Blessing. Then maybe get rid of the Marauder. Alright, this looks good. So let's start with Melusine. At 7 power, she is stealable for Nilfgaard. So let's boost her up. They'll go Slave Driver. And drop her down to a 10. And that Slave Driver we're not going to be able to steal because we don't have anything that's small enough to do that. So let's go Svalblod Cultist here. And she'll heal Melusine. Of course, Melusine is boosted at the moment, so it's not going to matter yet. But at 4 power, this is very stealable. But it's a card that could sabotage them if they take it. So I'll be interested to see if they do opt to steal. Let's see. Looks like they'll lock it. And not steal it. So in that case, let's play another big card that will be tough for them to steal. Skjall. I would put him over to the other side of Melusine, so that Melusine will get boosted up, but we don't want Skjall to get damaged too much, so we'll keep him a little bit safer here. Alright, now they'll go Bribery, and if they get Skjall, they could steal him, but Melusine is no longer at her starting power. It's a little Havfrue, so that's a 6, which is stealable if we go Fulmar here. That is a pretty aggressive play. I'd probably prefer to get Melusine back in a future round with Sigrdrifa's Rite and then play Fulmar in that round. We could play a very suboptimal Svanrige to get that steal. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. We'll steal the little Havfrue. Means we'll get another card on the other side of Melusine, so she can continue to get boosted up. And I'm waiting to use her order until we have more units out here to damage, because this one has armor. So they'll play little Havfrue. They'll steal ours back. Which again means we could steal with Fulmar. But if we are going to go that route, we definitely want to load up on all the rain from Melusine. And this row is a little bit better for that now. Alright, then Highwayman. Deal some damage, actually enough to steal Fulmar. Fortunately, this time he is pretty easy to steal back with the Messenger of the Sea. And why don't we use more of these order abilities? Load up on the rain. Because lowering these cards' power makes them much more difficult for our opponent to steal. They'll pass. That means we'll take the round 1 win. And then remember, those little Havfrues, they created, so we actually draw into the 2 from our starting deck here. Then we get an on Craite Marauder. That being said, these are not our better cards, so let's get rid of this. And the Tuirseach Invader is getting slightly better. We did play 1 more card than our opponent in round 1, so we might dry pass, in which case this will get bumped up to a 7 in round 3, but I think we can still do better, certainly with Oneiromancy. So yes, I do think we dry pass here. They'll go with Highwayman. That's their throwaway, which is, of course, all they need in round 2. Alright, so we drew into the Tuirseach Invader, which is a little more palatable now that it's a 7, but we probably can still do better. Hermit is a 3 on deploy, so it's low enough that it's hard for them to steal. And then Raging Bear I do like as a first turn play, so I think maybe we get rid of you. Bearwitch Mentor is a good finisher, and then let's keep both of our little Havfrues, so I think that means Hermit is the weakest link, and Fucusya is amazing. Okay, Dawsbog Runestone. Into Kingslayer, that gets rid of Bearwitch Mentor, okay. Might have even been the card we would want to play with Oneiromancy toward the end. But I think we start with the Raging Bear, that way we aren't damaging any of our own cards. And the only way they're going to steal this is likely if they can use one of their Duchess's informants. Though they do still have both charges of their leader ability remaining, and this does give them some damage, which can set up some steals, so we should bear that in mind. Alright, it's Triss Telekinesis into Freya's Blessing, and they did have a little Havfrue in their graveyard, which does mean we can steal their little Havfrue with our little Havfrue, so I think we go for that. Now they'll go Nilfgaard Knight, and that will steal one of our 8s. But because we still have a little Havfrue, that means we can play our second one here and steal one of those 8s back. It'll be the Nilfgaard Knight. Alright, now they're going Ivar Evil Eye to switch power into an 8 to steal one of our 8s. And then they'll use their leader ability to lock both of our little Havfrues. That does limit some of our rain capabilities. Except we do still have more 8s. We can play Gerd. It's a matter of, do we want to steal Ivar Evil Eye, or do we want to steal one of either the little Havfrue or the Raging Bear? And so it's a little less damage, but I would kind of like to get this little Havfrue back. So let's go with Gerd in the range row. We'll damage these guys. And, okay, we got the Raging Bear, unfortunately. Alright, now Anna Henrietta, they'll steal our leader ability. And we did have a 3, so they will steal that. And they'll use that new leader ability, which does set up our Heim if we switch power with the Raging Bear, though we would prefer to switch power with one of their damage units, so that way their card gets the 1 power from the Heim. In which case, now might be the time to go with Sigrdrifa's Rite into Melusine. And of course, at 17 power, that is a card that they are going to find very difficult to steal. Alright, they'll go Brothans. And with that, Duchess's Informant into the Nilfgaard Knight. And they can steal our Nilfgaard Knight here. So now what we can do is we can go Oneiromancy into Dagur. Melee row for him. We'll steal that Kingslayer. Then we're going to want to get as much of this damage out here as we can. That way, they'll take damage when their turn starts, getting him up to an 8, making it more difficult for them to steal him. They'll use their leader ability again. And then Dandelion, which will steal that Kingslayer back. And then Barification, which does not really do anything. So now we'd like to get our Messenger of the Sea out here as quickly as possible to get all the boosts from the rain. Though I am eyeing Heim right now, because if we switch power with this Nilfgaardian Knight, we can steal either Ivar or the little Havfrue, which is probably still a bigger play, so I guess we go for that. We get Ivar. Alright, now Ardfiend Tortoise is a 7, so they can steal one of those 7 cards back. Okay, so we definitely want to get Messenger of the Sea down there before we go Fucusya into Rioghan, which will be our finisher. So let's go with this here. And it'll steal Brothams. And with the damage from the rain, we don't have as much of it going anymore, but it will still boost up the Messenger of the Sea up to a 6. Uma's Curse. It's a wild card, don't know what they're going to get with it. Oh, and with Leo, they can destroy, I assume Melusine is what they're going to go for. That's big. Okay, so I think we go Fucusya into Rioghan now, and then leave Bear Witcher Mentor as our finisher, because playing Fucusya and Rioghan first will power up Bear Witcher Mentor. So let's go with that. And we don't have that much rain out there, so it's not a ton of damage, but it does still boost up both Dagur and the Messenger of the Sea. And it does make this Bear Witcher Mentor play on our last turn more powerful, as we were saying. And so they will forfeit. We'll take the win. So there's a look at a high-power, high-damage Skellige deck for the new Irresistible Traction seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.